Alright, so today we're going to, with this video, we're going to sculpt a nose. So with the nose, I'm going to use a mirror, as you can see, as opposed to pictures. The bonus of having a mirror is that you get multiple views really quickly, and you can see different aspects without having to take photographs of the lower part of your nose or on top, and different aspects. And that's the bonus of having a live model. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that with this class, but we will make do with ourselves as models. So with the nose, it has a bony part here that goes down to about right in there. You can kind of see where that bony part ends and where the cartilage and the squishy part is. You can see a difference in the skin. And there's a muscle that comes down through here and kind of wraps over the nose here, so you got a little puffiness here, and that's from the muscle. And then this is all cartilage. These are created by cartilage. That's cartilage. Down under here's cartilage. So this is movable, this is not, and there is a visual difference in that. So take a good close look at your nose. I'm going to slide my glasses back on here so I can actually see. And I've started getting the form. So the first step to any sculpture is getting the basic volumes. I've warmed up the clay. I put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds and got it nice and movable. Unfortunately, the piece of clay I just picked up is not one of the pieces I put in the microwave. So looking at your nose, you will start to get the kind of the conical shape that you have going on here, the spherical shape here, and then the flares of the nose, the nostrils, and the general overall shape. We want to take it down into the cheek just a little bit, just to give us some reference. And you can also look at the profile of the nose really quite quickly. And I think I'm pretty close to that. Maybe needs to be a little bit longer. This gets pretty thin in here. If you're having too much trouble pushing the clay around, go warm it up a little bit more. I know this clay in my hand's not very warm, so I'm having a hard time smoothing it in. So, like I was saying, the nose here is bone, and then you have a muscle that kind of spreads across here. So it's has a little padding here. I'm going to keep the nose nice and straight, unless your nose is not, and then bend it accordingly. It gets thinner in here. Mine does anyway. Creating this bulbous part. Needs a little bit more there. Then a very important part of the nose is the nostrils and the shape of the nostrils. As you can see, mine is a little bit, this one's a little different than this one. This one's a little bit more bean shape, and this one is a little more oblong. So I want to get those shapes right. So I'm going to use drawing techniques here. after I smooth this in a little bit better. And I'm going to draw those. So look at where they begin and end. That's going to determine the shape of this nostril. So comes out. And then this part comes down and it ends here. I'm not going to take it all the way off the sculpture. I'm going to leave a little background. And then I'm going to do the other side. It's a little more pointy here. Comes down. A little more oblong. A little hard to see past my mustache. And it comes up and goes like that. I want to make sure these are this shape right here is the same as here. I need to bring this over a bit more. Make that a little bit thinner there in the middle. And now I'm going to use my ribbon tool or your paper clip or whatever you have to dig out. It's going to be deeper up in this part of the nose and shallower here. You can see how the nostril goes back in there. You don't want to dig too deep though, because that's going to make mold making a little bit more challenging. You want just to allude to that depth by creating a nice kind of a flat here, and then when the nostril's turned upright it will look deeper there. Work on the other one, then we'll smooth them out and kind of get them looking more congruent. I think I'm there. This might be a little wide here, but you also want to make sure you can see from a front view, you can see how this flares back. So I want to make sure that gets in there. We'll work on that in a moment. So I'm just pushing and pulling and so this kind of comes around here. Make sure you're working both sides. That doesn't look quite right. warmer now. I can actually use it a little better. Nose is getting, the bulb here is getting a little on the big side. We might have to cut that down. So right at the tip of my finger here is where the bone ends and the squishy part begins. I think I need to build this bone up a little bit higher. Build this up. Looking at the profile. That's the hard one to look at in the mirror. Thinning this out a little bit, pushing that back. Couldn't quite get my finger. There we go. That little crease there. Make sure if your nostrils are symmetrical, which mine somewhat are. This one flares up a little bit more here, and this one's a little bit more straight. It's probably due to the shape of the, I have to go back in here and thin this down a little bit after pressing on it and moving it around. And soften that edge. This needs to flare up a little bit more, so that needs to come in. Oh, I probably could have just pushed that. It's a little thinner there. Nose a little longer than that. So keep working it until it looks like your nose. And another trick with the clay is if you use a hairdryer on it. I have a little heat gun here that's basically a little hairdryer. You can soften the surface enough and smooth it out easier. You can see it's getting hot there. It's starting to glisten a little bit. You don't want it too hot. Now I can easily smooth those little marks out and create more of a smooth surface. That's kind of a finishing trick to get oil-based clay a little bit smoother. Needs a bit more work, but you guys get the idea. Once again, we'll make the mold in a different video.